Beshem Hashem Naseh Nasiach Be'ezat Hashem, we're going to learn Parashat Bamidbar, very important lesson that Torah was given in the Sinai desert, in Bamidbar. The obvious question is, why Hashem chose such a place that there is no vegetation, that there is no real beauty in deserts, giving Torah, that the whole purpose of the creation is for Torah, to give it to Am Israel, right? It would have been very easy for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to give Torah in a place filled with all sorts of flowers, all sorts of greens, with a lot of attractions. But instead, Hashem gave Torah to Bnei Israel in the Sinai desert. So we're going to explore on this from this holy sefer called Netivot Shalom, right? And we're going to explain this, and these are the lessons in life. וידבר השם אל משה במדבר סיני. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu spoke to Moshe Rabbeinu in the Sinai desert. The Midrash Darshu Chazal, in the Midrash, our Chachamim of blessed memory explain, Lama Bamidbar, why Torah is given to us in the Bamidbar, why specifically Midbar, the desert. Mika'an Shanu Chachamim Begemara. So in the Talmud explains that Shalosha Devarim Nitena HaTorah Be'esh Ube'mayim Ube'midbar. That Torah is given to Jewish nation through three things. One is by fire, one is by water, and one is Torah is given in the Midbar.
And the flat.
Right? Midbar means the desert.
Because of humbleness.
Right? Where, let's see. Ba'esh minayin, from where do we know that Torah is compared to the ash, and Torah is given like by fire? Right? The Hasinai Ashan Kulo, as Shavuot is approaching, and the whole mountain of Sinai was filled with fire. Ubemai Minaim, how do we know that Torah is compared to water? And in a way, Torah is given with water. What that means is, Gam Shamaim Niftu, Gam Avim Niftu Maim. That in the Shofetim refers to that the sky and the clouds and everything, they give water. That refers to perhaps the preparation for Kabbalat Torah, for accepting the Torah. That's in Shofetim. How do we know that Torah is given to us? Right, in desert, and one who wants to accept Torah, he needs to make himself like desert. By Daber Hashem and Moshe Bamidbar Sinai, this week's parasha, that Hashem spoke to Moshe Rabbeinu in the Midbar Sinai, in the desert of Sinai. Right? Davar Acher, Kol Mi She'eino Ose Asmo Kemidbar. Hefcher Eino Yachol Liknot et HaTorah v'Chochma. Lachen Nemar b'Midbar Sinai, which means whoever doesn't make himself like the desert, whoever doesn't make himself like empty like desert, he would not be accepting Torah. Okay, so let's briefly talk about this. A lot of times, unfortunately, we have nonsense in our minds. It could be news. It could be things that we don't really need to know, right? And believe it or not, these things would influence us, would take away our mind, would take away our focus, right? It would occupy our thoughts. According to Torah, when these things happens, that we have other strange thoughts that causes our Limud Torah to be diminished, the Limud Torah to become less important, and it influences the Torah that is supposed to grasp, to learn, right? So I tell you, originally I didn't appreciate this. But I tell you, I have a friend who lives in Yerushalayim.
There's a hub.
Yes, and he's in Kolel there. He's a big Talmid Chacham. He was with me in Yeshivat in Israel. I think he left in the year 2000 or 2001. And after maybe 17 years, I saw him. And I was telling him, so how do you do? How's life over there? I started talking with him about the difficulties of Eretz Israel. And he told me, I don't know about these things. I don't follow the news. And I thought, why he doesn't know the news? Isn't that bad that he doesn't know what is happening in the neighboring countries? Isn't that bad that he doesn't know what is happening in his own country? Maybe he might hear about the elections. Maybe he might go and place his vote, right, once every few years. But he doesn't listen to music. He doesn't know what's happening, right? He doesn't hear that there was a tsunami in Philippines. He doesn't hear that.
Tsunami.
So, tsunami, yeah, he doesn't hear about the tsunamis, or he doesn't hear about, the helicopter that was crashed, right? Unless they tell him in the shiur, and that was, that was the Kiddush Hashem, that was the name of Hashem was sanctified. So then I heard from many sources, and I read in Sefarim, that is the ideal way of learning Torah. That when you empty your mind from all these nonsense, then your mind becomes receptacle container. It becomes a receptacle keli meqabbel,
To receive it.
right? Keli meqabbel beracha. That your mind becomes ready to absorb Torah. It's like a sponge, right? You use a sponge in the restaurant, right? Very important to use a sponge, right? Not anymore. Sponge, right? Sponge, we use it a sponge in the kitchen.
To absorb the water.
Yes. If the sponge is already too absorbed with water, then it's not going to do its job properly.
That's right.
You need to squeeze it. You need to squeeze it, make it dry, and reuse it again. So the mind of a person is like that too. So that's why over here, Netivot Shalom is going to explain that a person who wants to accept Torah, he needs to empty his mind from all the shetiyot, they call it in Yiddish, all the nonsense, all the things that really do not matter. Now, I can understand if you are a businessman, you need to know the latest in your business. I can understand, right, that if you are a doctor, you need to know the latest in medicine, right? But one thing we can definitely talk about it is that why in the world we need to know all the nonsense that is happening around us that is really not making a difference to us. Okay, and the answer to that is the influence of the goyim, that we have been influenced by the goyim, by the Gentiles, and Gentiles have made it in a way that is the part of our life. That every morning we need to listen to the news, and every evening we need to listen to the news, and we need to check our emails. We need to check for the top stories, and if we don't check, they make you feel that you're missing out, on the excitement, or you're missing out, to hear that which is going to cause you your life. Chas v'shalom. And this is the influence of the goyim. This is what the Gentiles have introduced to us, and this is what unfortunately we see, right, that has taken away our intellect, right, that we cannot be focused now. The truth of the matter is, Nathaniel, that unfortunately, right, we see this is coming to the schools, right?
Yeah, too.
Now, what is happening is that the teenagers are so much preoccupied with their cell phones, with their small phones, right? Smartphones, that they are not smart anymore themselves, right? That they're constantly, right, chatting, what is it called? Snapchatting, right? Texting, WhatsApping, right? Facebooking, right? This and that, this app to that app, and this and that. that they completely lost and they cannot pay attention in the classroom, they cannot properly study, and they get bullied over the in the
Internet,
schools
yes.
and in the internet, and when they walking, when they talking, is completely they are being controlled by all these apps. And the social media has unfortunately caused so much disaster of people becoming suicidal, people giving up hope, and people feeling depressed. And there's a new legislation that they want to introduce in the Congress, and the states are working on it, as well as in California, to prohibit students, right, bringing their smartphones to the classrooms. Now imagine this was already prohibited in the yeshivot. In yeshiva near Israel in Baltimore, you're not allowed to have a smartphone in the Beit Midrash. Or if you have a smartphone, you got to have filters. Right? You need to make sure that you don't have this gadget taking your life. Right? And this is something that we see, Baruch Hashem, our Orthodox systems, Shalom, has in a way protected us from.
So
Okay.
this is going to be on an election day. They're going to decide.
I don't know how they're gonna do it, but they're talking about it. Right? They introducing a bill, right, to prohibit smartphones in the schools. Right?
That's good. Perfect.
That is good, perfect. But I was saying that Baruch Hashem Yeshivot already had this in place many years ago.
I'm going to go in.
Right? Now, we the reason that we saying this is because in this week's parasha we see Torah, right, was given to Am Israel in the Midbar Sinai. Midbar Sinai, because there is nothing in the Midbar Sinai. There is no single tree. In desert, you don't find nothing. The only thing that you find there is a little bit of, maybe snakes, scorpions, or a little bit of bushes.
Grass or something.
There's no grass in the Midbar Sinai. Maybe some bushes, right? Khar. Right? Okay, so let's see.
Torn.
What's that?
Torn.
Thorns. Right? Okay. ויש לבעל לעניין. Let's understand these three things that Torah is given with: fire, water, and the desert. That Torah is compared with.
Fire.
Right? That from one side we see these are the kochot, these are what Hashem makes the world run on. We need water to drink. We need ash, fire to cook, to melt the iron, to build buildings, many things we need fire. Right? תפקידו של יהודי להכניסם בקדושה, that the purpose of a Yehudi is to come and accept holiness, and that holiness comes through Torah. Right? Fire, in a way, right, could be tameh, could be something that is impure. Right?
Yeah.
With fire, you could use to make a weapon.
Not only that, but it can also, fire can make things clean, sterilize, and burn everything.
Right? You could sterilize, or you could chas v'shalom use fire to do all sorts of damage. Right? You could do all sorts of bad things with fire. Right? Fire can burn a whole beautiful building that took many months to build. In a matter of maybe few minutes, the whole building can be destroyed. Right? ואילו להכניס כן האש בקדושה. And also we see that ash can be used for kedusha, for holiness. Right? How fire is used to burn the korbanot, right? Sacrifices.
Barbecue.
Right? Right? Fire is used, right, to prepare the mikveh. Right? If mikveh is freezing, you warm it up. Right?
Is it supposed to be cold water? I'm not freezing, but cold water.
Well, there is cold water. There is cold option. There is warm option. You could choose.
On the ladies, or
Well, for ladies, they only have one option. They have the warm option. Right.
it's not hot or just warm?
I think it's hot, warm towards hot. Right. Now let's see. There's reasons involved. For men, cold, we have cold, we have hot, we have warm. There are some mikvot that they have 10 options. They give you 10 options in Eretz Israel. 10 different pools. Right? באש התורה שעלו כוח דברי האש, נאום Hashem. The Torah is compared to Esh, that Hashem spoke through Esh. When Hashem wanted to give the 10 commandments, there was all sorts of thunder and lightnings. Right? So we see that Esh HaTorah also referred to the Kedusha that burns. And it burns, it is supposed to burn the Tum'ah. The Esh of the Torah, the fire of Torah is supposed to burn the impurity. It's supposed to burn the desires. You know, people have a lot of desires, especially these days. Right? Everything is about desires. Right? Right? One is supposed to burn those desires, to remelt the desires that he has for the sake of Hashem. So you see, Aish can be used for two things. Can be used for bad,
good purpose and bad purpose.
Good purpose and bad purpose. Right? And let's see, the midah of Teshukah, there is a midah of loving something. Right? Right? When somebody loves something, it's like there is a ash, there is a fire in his heart. There's such a love, right? Or that love can be chas v'shalom for something, some sort of avera. So a person needs to take that love and refine it and use it for a better purpose, right? So that's the purpose of a Yehudi. Haroseh lechaber haTorah lahachnis et midat hateshuvah bekedusha. That a Yehudi is supposed to come with kedusha, and that can be accomplished through fire. Now, what is midbar? Desert. midbar inyano kemo ha'ita sham b'midrash, as the midrash explains, that in midbar shehu maqom hefker. Midbar doesn't belong to anyone, right? I don't know about today. Maybe it belongs to the city. It belongs to the country, right? The government. But in the older days, there was no private owner over the midbar.
That's supposed to be on.
In the older days, a person would come, right? Take a place, right? Make it livable, and I guess that would become his property, right? And we know in the Torah tells us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave certain countries to certain, right, people, like Har Esav, right? Seir is given to, right? Seir is given to Esav, right? We know that Eretz Israel used to be Eretz Canaan. Hashem gave it to Am Israel, right? Hashem promised it to Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and later, right, Moshe Rabbeinu, made Yehoshua his successor, and he went and he captured Eretz Israel from all the nations, right? So we see before that, desert was hefker. More and less, deserts do not have owners. Which means, in order to accomplish Torah, in order to learn Torah, you need to become like a desert. You should not have owners. Why? Because now you're choosing a new owner, right? You adorning, you choosing a new melech, and that is Hashem. In order to accept Torah fully, you cannot have another boss. We need to have only one creator, one being, and that is Hashem.
That's the first commandment.
Right? Anochi Hashem Elokecha asher hositecha me'eretz Mitzrayim liyot lachem le'elokim. Yes, we need to choose Hashem. We need to understand that Hashem is the only one who saved us from Mitzrayim, and that we need to accept Him as our Elokim. Right? Now let's see.
من فکر کنم چون تو دزرت داده برای که می‌خواستیم مردم free باشن.
So let's
They
see.
want the
Yeah, free.
people
Now
have
we're
free
gonna
mind
see.
to accept it.
Alright. Now in your yeah. Now when we come to give halal, when we come to praise someone, we need to understand who we are praising. If you're praising someone, but in the back of your mind, you also want to praise someone else, then your praise would not be fully.
Oh no, it's not accepted anyway.
Right? So Hashem wants us to be completely focused to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Right? Netivot Shalom goes on to explain. Right? The three things that Torah is compared to, that Torah is given through Esh, Maim, and desert, right? Fire, water, and desert, right? Also refers to three things that one needs to have in order to accept Torah. And we explained fire, that you need to take your desires and use and maneuver to those desires for good things, right? And you need to become ownerless like a midbar in order to accept Hashem as your father, as your new boss, as your creator, and to only focus
As your father, that's
as
the
your
best
father,
translation.
right?
Say fire,
Now what about water?
water,
What is the essence of water?
Purity.
Purity. Purity. Very good. Not only purity, water goes to downhills. Water goes to places that are
Humbling. That's what he said.
so. In order to accept Torah, you need to become humble. Right? The greater, the greater, the greater humble you are, the greater you can learn Torah. Right? In fact, HaKadosh Baruch Hu hates those who are very gava.
Stuck up.
ego.
They have a lot of ego, right? That have nose in the air, right? In fact, Harambam teaches us that a Yehudi is not supposed to walk, all stretched up like this, nose in the air, right? Like those who have a lot of gava. A Yehudi needs to be humble. He needs to be a little bit bent over, right? That this way, the way that you walk, the way that you talk, the way that you think about yourself influences your thoughts, influences your thoughts.
Why didn't they say Torah is almost like oxygen also? You have water, fire, and oxygen.
Excellent. Kihem chayenu ve'orech yamenu. That Torah is our life.
Man, that's
Without Torah, a person would become, sorry to tell you this, but we all know this. If we would not have Torah, we would become like animal, even worse than animals. As we've seen in the history, right? That fish, the Yemak Shemam Zichram, these Nazi people, Nazi did during the Holocaust.
Yeah, Hamas.
Or even Hamas and all these terrorists do, is much worse than any animal, any dog, any wild dogs, any wolves, lions.
Pigs.
They are documenting animal nature videos that has been documented, that when lions go and they find a mother and a baby together, and if there is some sort of difficulty for the mother and mother is suffering, they wouldn't attack. They wouldn't attack.
You mean if you want to eat them up, you mean?
Yes, they wouldn't attack. They leave them alone. Right? They leave them alone. Okay, and let's see. En divrei Torah mitqayemet bemi shemerafeh asmol aleihen. Now, in order to accept Torah, no, thank you. Yes, thank you. In order to accept Torah, a person cannot have so much ease, right? Cannot be so much, luxury, right? Shalom mitoch idun. In order to accept Torah, a person needs to work hard. You go to yeshivot, you have some Talmidei Chachamim, they going, shakel, right? They stand up, they learn, right? They work hard. They shot at each other's chabruta, right? As the Talmud puts, they sharpen each other, right?
I was in Mir Yeshiva.
Mir Yeshiva,
When you
yes.
go to that class, there is so much loud talking.
You can hear yourself. There's a lot of loud talking going on. But each one of those scholars, they understand what they're saying, right? So Torah should not be something like ease. You take when you wanna read something newspaper, you take it like this, and you lean and you read. Torah is not supposed. Amen. Torah is not supposed to be like too much comfortable, right? Torah, in fact, is a story. It doesn't mean that you should discomfort yourself. No, don't. In other words, learn Torah even if you don't have 100% comfort, right? I tell you some stories. When Mir Yeshiva in Europe has ran away from Yemach Shema V'Zichram, the Nazi people during the Holocaust, they went to Shanghai. They went to China, Shanghai, and they got a building over there, and it was very humid and hot weather during the summer. Nevertheless, those who were used to wearing jacket or wearing long sleeves due to the respect of Torah, because there are some opinions one should not be praying with short sleeves, right? Or one should not be, have his his arms exposed by the prayers. Should wear clothing of dignity, right? They continued learning, right, with shirts, with some of them with jackets, and many of them became big scholars. Many stories that they did not give up the Torah, Limud Torah, in many difficult times. Right? There is a story that there was this Rav that he was taken in prison, in jail, and Purim was approaching, and somehow he managed to write the whole Megillat Esther in parchment by heart, right, and read it to his people in the jail, to Yehudim, right? So there is a lot of stories that Torah comes through hardship. Torah, Rabbi Ovadia Yosef alav shalom, right? Rabbi Ovadia Yosef alav shalom, he learned Torah from utmost levels of being poor, right? So much so that he got permission to go to a bookstore, right, to learn the books that were there at nights under the moon, under the light of moon, right, moonlight at night time, because he wanted to learn those books, and it was perhaps very expensive to get those books, right? And we see that he was so poor, but eventually Hashem helped him. Baruch Hashem, he became very successful. Yes, he wrote Sefarim, he sold those Sefarim, he became famous, and Hashem sent him Parnasa. Right? So another was, being poor should not hold you back from learning Torah. That means desert. You should have like nothing. Right? You're not rich. Right? You have nothing and you still learn Torah. And this comes to remind us, many people say, okay, when we do better in business, we come learn Torah. And some people, they come learn Torah maybe when they have Kaddish, they come to Beit HaKnesset, right? Some people, they come when they have some sort of absolute necessity, right? They come. Gir Kardan, right? They can come every day because they have a lot of obligations. Torah tells us,
They come in rainy days.
right, rainy days. Torah tells us, no, v'yagid bo yomam v'layla. You need to learn Torah day and nights in every situation. Sun, right, sunshine or rain, whatever it is, you learn Torah. Right? Yachol lignot Torah ki mocha Now, how can you learn Torah if your mind is occupied with other things? How can you learn Torah if your business is in charge of you? Right? Some people say we have to be in work 7:30 downtime. 7:30
داونتاون هم نباشه جای دیگه هم
or other places. Now, if they wake up early, like 4:30, 5 o'clock, they go learn some Torah before Shacharit and then go to Hanetz. And then at night they also go to Beit HaKnesset. This way, they are fulfilling V'yagid Bo Yomam V'layla, that they learn Torah days and nights. But if they don't, then the whole life they're being controlled by their job.
Slave at work.
That's another slavery.
Slave
The slavery, unfortunately.
They're slaves.
You're a slave
Right.
of our job or our wives? Which one?
First job.
Wife, you can't do anything about it.
You're right. Thank you.
Right.
For reminding
You didn't hear that, okay?
Hangi sene düştü be lan?
me. نه آقا، حقیقت دیگه نمی‌دونم.
It's a good slavery. If you have a good wife,
بله بله.
Masa Isha Mashta Tov. One who finds a wife, good wife, one found good. آخرش.
زن خوب پرهیزکار کند مرد درویش را
Right? Ezer Kenegdo. Ezer, help. Yeah.
زن
Let's go.
خوبه.
And then, וזה עניין ג' הדברים שבהם ניתנה תורה לישראל. This is the explanation of these three things. שעל ידיהם יכול יהודי לבטל חומריותו. That with these three things, right, Esh, right, Maim, and Midbar, which resembles Esh, your desires. You use your, fire, fire inside your heart, instead of having that chelo kebab or whatever, gondi, korme sabzi, or, pizza, only pizza shalom though, okay? Right? Don't forget. Right? Only that you bring the desires for the sake of Hashem. Right? And midbar, you empty yourself from all the garbage.
And ego.
Right? People say so and so was brainwashed. Yes, it's good. Was brainwashed of all the filth, all the dirt, all the bad things that Goyim teach you. In fact, I have a wonderful Talmid. He's in late 40s, and he told me, I feel being brainwashed.
How?
Right? He's been coming to learn Torah lately. He told me he feels being brainwashed, and he said it's good to be brainwashed with Torah. Right? And today I spoke to someone. He said that Harav Yehoshua Netaneli alav Shalom, Harav Eliyahu Netaneli's father, right, helped him in Iran, right, and everyone called him that he was a kid back then, that he was brainwashed. Now he has a son that is 19 years old, and he's bringing his son to get beracha from Hacham Netaneli Shelita. And he was telling him, I want my son to be brainwashed too, because he's 19 years old, and unfortunately a lot of bad thoughts have. He lives in Great Neck. Unfortunately, it doesn't mean that Great Neck is a wonderful. They have a lot of Torah going on over there. They're doing a wonderful job over there. Every place has its obstacles, right? So let's move on. So شاید یدیهم یخول یهودی لبطل וישתו ויהיו מסוגל לכנון התורה בכוח האש. So we explained the אש. על ידי אש הקדושה, you get the אש קדושה and you come to Hashem. ועל ידי שמכניסים את מידת האהבה והתשוקה, so you bring the love for Hashem. Right? And nanu ella ata. We don't have anybody but Hashem. Right? Right? Ve'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha bechol levavcha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha. The first pasuk of the Shema. Ve'ahavta. That we're supposed to love Hashem. Right? more than anything else. Bechol levavcha, with all our heart. Bechol nafshecha, with all our mind. Right? Ubechol meodecha, and with all our money. Right? That's true love. Right?
یه مقدار از این لابمون رو میتونیم بذاریم کنار مثلا برای خانوممون یا مثلا بچه‌مون یا
First is Hashem and then his wife and
the
children.
leftover goes to them.
Yes. Right? Right? Leftover goes to children and wife. Right? Okay. Be'avat Hashem. But I tell you, it's a high level to love Hashem more than yourself and more than other things.
It's hard, is that you said?
It's very hard. You need to work on it. It's not something that comes natural.
من نمیخوام بگم من امونه ندارم ولی هشم چجوری اکسپلینش میکنه که همیشه اترنیتی هست.
Okay, very good question. So they're asking, how do you explain Hashem that Hashem is in eternity, that Hashem is everywhere, is
Everywhere. He controls
everywhere,
5
he's
billion people
he's
and
eternal. Okay.
and controls everything and anything happens.
So according to one opinion, right, we are within Hashem. That everything we are in Hashem, and Hashem is
I have
everywhere.
a second opinion.
Right?
When Hashem created the man, he gave some of his spirit inside the man, so the
Right.
man became. So all of the human beings, they have a part of Hashem in
Part
them.
of Hashem.
And at night they're reporting to Hashem.
Right, we have,
And
especially Yehudim have neshama. Neshama. Nobody else has neshama. Right? The animals have nefesh. Right? The goyim have nefesh. The mankind have nefesh and ruach. Right? And Yehudim have neshama. Right? So we have something that no other.
تو کامل چی میگن؟ بیدین حساب نکنیم ولی من میگم هشم تو طبیعت میبینم نه طبیعت که میگن
Very nice. That's how Abraham Avinu came to see Hashem from nature, right?
طبیعت منظورم نیست منظورم که
but his creation.
کریشنش من سخت
هرچی
هستم
create
فهمیدم
The
کرده.
question. Now I tell you another thing. The question is, how do you see Hashem, right? How do you relate to Hashem? So the thing is, we got used to greatness. We got greatness to Hashem, of Hashem. If you imagine being in a space, right? In a space, there is complete darkness, right? There is nothing there, right? And all of a sudden, you come from space to world. But imagine you never lived in this planet world. You come from space to here. Wouldn't you ask questions? How these trees were planted? How there is the sun, there is the moon, there is stars, there is wind, waterfall, right? In the morning, right? Birds wake up, they start chirping. They start praising Hashem, and then you see other creatures, and every creature has its own food, its own life. Who is running all of these?
طبیعت نه
There is no nature, right? One time, Rabbi Rehani was taking Rabbi Rehanian Shelita, right? Was taking a taxi, right? So the guy started telling him, Rabbi, I don't believe God. So the rabbi said, I want to tell you something. The other day I was sitting in my living room, and all of a sudden, one of these smart TVs fell down in my living room. And I pressed the button, I started working. Right? It was like a dream to me. The driver said, Rabbi, you're kidding me. You maybe you had a dream. This impossible. This smart TVs. You need to buy it. You need to bring it. Right? He said, no, I'm telling you, this smart TV somehow it fell. Right? From upstairs balcony to my balcony. I started working. Right? The driver said, no, Rabbi, you're just kidding me. You're being crazy. Right? So the Rabbi Rehanian said, so hear yourself. You're saying that this whole world with all these fine details, right? You have, if over here by eyes, there is certain channels here. There is certain that make sure that water goes into our eyes and it washes our eyes. If those pipes are closed, we start crying unstoppably. I know somebody who has that issue. May Hashem give him the first Shalom, and he has this from since his childhood. He has seen the best doctors; they cannot cure it. Cannot cure it.
What's wrong with him?
Instead of water going only in the eyes, right? There is a system that the water comes, cleans the eyes, and goes from another pipe, whatever, another way, right? But that is closed, right? And they cannot find a solution. Or some people, they cannot taste, right? Some people are blind; they cannot see all the colors. Cannot see all the colors. Who put all of these wonderful, things? You could see, you could feel, sense so much. This is all Hashem. Right? The problem is we get used to it, right? We get used to it. If we don't get used to it, then we see Hashem. We see Hashem. So the art is that we need to remind ourselves by saying kavanah, by saying blessings with kavanah. With focusing, seeing those who don't have things and thanking Hashem for giving us what we have. Very important in the tefillah, right? In the section of Modim. Very important to thank Hashem. Modim anach. We just say the words. We have to understand. We need to thank it. We need to thank Hashem. Okay, let's move on. We have a few more minutes, right? Al Torah bechol tanaim yesh ba sa'ar gadol v'nedor she'neh sham. There could be a big, right, fear, big fear and suffering. You have Torah, but you can't use it. You have Torah in the bookshelf, but you cannot absorb it, right? You have this heavenly knowledge, the manual of life, but you're not bringing it to your life, right? And our rabbis teach us the first question that the heavenly court will ask a person in the world to come is, did you engage Torah? Did you learn Torah? Right? Did you? Right? They're also gonna ask, did you have a business? Did you act with honesty in business? Right?
But this gentleman is a walking Torah. I mean,
Baruch
he's a
Hashem.
Levi,
Baruch Hashem. And soon, Levim, Kohanim, Israelim, they're gonna be coming and do their services in Beit HaMikdash. So we need to, believe it or not, we need to prepare for that. There is a place in Yerushalayim, right, that they teach the Kohanim the sacrifices and all the services of Beit HaMikdash. Right? No, they have a place. It's called Mikdash Institute, Mishkan Institute, maybe Mishkan Institute or Mikdash Institute. I don't remember correctly. And they're teaching the Kohanim that when the Beit HaMikdash becomes rebuilt, Bimera B'Yamenu Amen, how they gonna be serving? Right? So we need to proudly prepare for that. Right? So let's move on. Ukashe Yehudi Omed Godem Kabbalat Torah, and before we stand by Kabbalat Torah, right, is every day. That's why. That's one of the reasons. Nathaniel, you listening? That's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons in the Torah doesn't say exactly what day is Shavuot. It says Mimacharat Shabbat.
49 days.
The next day after Shabbat count 49 days. It doesn't say when is Shavuot. It says when is Pesach, when is Sukkot. Doesn't say when is Shavuot. Why? Because our rabbis teach us Kabbalat Torah has to be every day.
Waiting, keep waiting.
Right? Keep working on yourself. Have it every day. So it says over here, right? If a person doesn't prepare himself, Shavuot might come and he might not be accepting Torah. On Shabbat, on Shavuot, Hashem will give us the shefa of the beracha of acceptance Torah, of how much Torah we're gonna learn in the year to come. That gezerah, that decree will be decreed on Shavuot. Right? So we need to really take the advantage of this. We need to prepare ourselves. We need to become, right, like midbar, empty of the shetiyot, empty of the craziness, nonsense, right? As much as better, right? What I do, I be honest. What I do, I also have desires of news, but I try to control it. How do I control it? There is this Hasidish email that you email them your email and they send you one email a day with all the top stories, no videos, no maybe pictures, maybe a few pictures. In 2-3 minutes you have all the top stories, and if you want to learn a little more, they have explanation there, so you don't have to chas v'shalom watch the TV with all the propaganda and the ads and all the violence and all the immodesties that is going on. Chas v'shalom, right? So, and one day, Be'ezat Hashem, I'm gonna graduate. I'm gonna give up this email, hopefully. But right now, it's very difficult. There's a lot of news going on. They said, the president is getting 118 years of prison. I guess they say.
No, he can appeal it. Don't worry.
118 years. They can appeal. He can appeal it. Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Yeah. But one thing I want to ask.
Let's finish this 1 second. Don't forget the question. 1 second. Let's two more. و که یهودی اومد قدم قبولت عدای نیمسا تاخد. So by Shavuot we need to come to this point of acceptance. Go ahead.
President Reagan میگه من همیشه I love to invite somebody who is an atheist. یعنی خداشناس نیست.
Yes.
To the White House and make him all the best meal and let him taste it after he finished. I'm going to ask him, you like the food? He says, yes. I said, do you think there was a chef to cook things? Or do you think the food cooked by itself?
Very interesting.
Yeah, I said, I would just ask him.
Do you think
there was a chef?
So Reagan would say that I would love to invite over the atheists.
Yeah, the guy.
And give them a whole meal and best food and after in the White House, and after the meal he would approach him and say, do you think there was a chef behind this food?
I'm waiting for Biden to invite me actually. He's going to be here next week.
شعال یدام مخنی یهودی و مبتل ات خملیوتا برد او یخول لقبه تورا. So with this we can give up our physical being and we can accept Torah. Oh, I forgot to mention, may the zechut of this Torah be a protection for all the Chayarei Israel.
Amen.
All the hostages should come back home safe. Right? The prisoners should come back soon, especially Arvin Netanel Ben Sonia, right? And should be Elui Nishmat. پدرتونه یادم اومد 28 of Omer tomorrow. No, 28 of Iyar 29.
He used to sit right here.
I remember.
I was next to the class.
منوخاتو به گنده. And my uncle Homayoun ben آقای ایسخاق و فاروق لغا روح خشم تنخنم به گنده مخین ای رسول من. Thank you so much for attending. Thank you. This video is gonna get uploaded.